Welcome to another episode of Life is About More Than Living, a podcast. Today's episode is entitled Either Level Up or Flatline. Uh, we've seen the movies, and that person's in the hospital, and all of a sudden the screen goes, they flatline. They're gone. So today's conversation with Kelvin Palmieri of Next Level University. Never thought I'd have him on today because I had his partner on back July 1st. A lot of things that happened in my life and changed. So I'm not going to keep you wondering. I'm not going to keep you guessing my audience on Facebook Live, on YouTube, on LinkedIn. I'm not keeping anybody in suspense any longer. We're going to take a deep dive into today's topic. Either level up or flatline. All right, Kevin, we're up, man. I just gave a short intro. One more thing I'm gonna throw out there before we go into it heavily. This show is currently only supported and sponsored by my book, Split Souls in Transition, a poetic memoir, so to speak. You can find it everywhere on Amazon, Spotify, audiobook, paperback, whatever. Please support this show by purchasing my book, Split Souls in Transition. Uh, I might have to add something to this after bringing this cat on because his partner hit it hard, and I'm gonna see what kind of flow he's bringing to us today because I went there with him today. He level up or flatline, like I said in the intro. Off camera, we've all seen the movies, the hospital scene, and the families gathered around. The person's laying there, and all of a sudden, they're gone. So that's really that dash in the middle. I'm going to let Kev introduce himself after I give the quote out. The quote today is networking has been cited as the number one unwritten rule of success in business. And for someone who's done this stuff so long without actually getting compensated for my value, I'm ready to take a deep dive with Kevin and see what he brings to us, y'all. It's your show, Kev.
Alfred, it's your show, and I appreciate you having me, my friend. I appreciate it very much. I am grateful you're doing the wonderful work in the world you're doing, and I am excited to chat. So yeah, I'm Kevin Palmieri. I am the founder and the host of Next Level University. We're a global top 100 podcast with 2,164 episodes, I think, as of today. And yeah, at the end of the day, we just want to help people level up. We want to help people get to the next level. We want to help people work through whatever struggles they're going through to get there. That's the goal for us, Alfred.
Wow. But your show, like I said, you said my show. It's your time, bro. I heard Alan, his partner, was here earlier, like July 1st. Y'all can do a replay and compare, because I know some folks out there like comparison shopping. Same Next Level University, different takeaways each and everybody. So let's see what he's bringing for us today.
It's I told Alfred in the preamble, I said Alan and I are very similar in the fact that we want to add value, but we're very different in the way we do it. He's an engineer. I am more of the creative. So level up or flatline, what does that mean? Well, at one point in life, I was somebody who looked really, really successful from the outside looking in. I had all the things. My girlfriend at the time was a model. I had a nice car. I was competing in a bodybuilding show. I quite literally had health, wealth, and love. I had all the things, but I still ended up sitting on the edge of a bed the year after contemplating suicide. And I think the important thing, the baseline, the foundational thing to talk about is a lot of us flatline long before we leave this planet. And it might not look like we're flatlined. It might look like we're climbing, but what are we actually climbing towards? That's something that we all have to figure out. So I think one of the most important things to talk about is clarity, because clarity starts everything. And unfortunately, if you don't start from a clear place, you're just kind of throwing darts, hoping that they land somewhere on a board. And you have to design the board first. And I think that's something that I wish I knew earlier. Unfortunately, a lot of us are just going through life and we're thinking one day it'll get better. One day I'll grow. One day I'll get that opportunity. And unfortunately, for a lot of us, for most of us, we have to go out and create those opportunities. We have to create that success. And I think that's a good place to kick off today.
Okay. So in the text, I highlighted not only networking, but also hitting rock bottom. In your bio, as you reached out to me, I think this area is so many people can relate to, whether you've being the wealthiest of individuals, or you the person homeless on the street, which in some people's opinion is rock bottom.
Yeah.
So hitting rock bottom, how, let's talk about it a little bit.
Yeah. So it's, the hard part for me is not only did I hit rock bottom, I found out that rock bottom has a basement. And that rock bottom moment for me was seeming like I had a lot of money, seeming like I was in my dream body, seeming like I was in my dream relationship, having all the things. My girlfriend at the time sat me down one day and she said, "Hey, I'm leaving. I'm not super fulfilled in our relationship. You've essentially become a shell of yourself, and I don't believe you're the man who can support me and the ambitions that I have." And she was right. She was right. I was struggling. I was depressed. I was anxious. I was dealing with an eating disorder after my bodybuilding show. I mean, I was riding the struggle bus, Alfred.
Wow.
And it got worse after she left because I think I fell into the trap that a lot of us fall into. What if I just haven't made enough money yet? What if I haven't found the hot person yet? What if the car isn't nice enough yet? Instead of saying, well, how did we get here in the first place? So I hit rock bottom. And then I said, well, I think the only way to climb out of rock bottom is to make a boatload of money. So I convinced myself that if I just made way more money, if I just grinded my face off for the next year, and again, you're going to hear a pattern. There's no clarity. There's no awareness. There's no certainty. I'm just throwing darts, hoping that one creates happiness. So my girlfriend leaves that next year. I said, I'm going to make the most money I've ever made. And I got promoted at my job. I was traveling all over the place for work. I was on the road every single week. And it seemed like I was making meaningful progress towards goals, right? So fast forward to the end of that year, I had been on the road for 10 months straight, every single week, brutal. But I opened my final pay stub of the year and I made $100,000 at 26 with no college degree. So this was 9 years ago. $100,000 was a lot more 9 years ago.
A lot more than 9 years ago, yeah.
Right. And I remember thinking to myself, and this is the moment that changed everything for me. For most of my life, I have lived unconsciously. I just opened my pay stub and I don't feel any different. I'm no more confident. I don't have any higher self-worth. I don't believe in myself anymore. I thought this was going to fix me. It did not fix me. For most of my life, I've lived unconsciously. The opposite of unconscious is hyperconscious. So I did what any young man would do, Alfred. I started a podcast in 2017 called the Hyperconscious Podcast. And that's where all this started for me. Much like you, it's abundantly clear, I fell in love with podcasting.
Yeah, it's easy to do.
And much like you've alluded to, there was nobody cared, and there was nobody saying, Kev, we love that you're doing this. How much money do you need so you can do this full time? There was nobody there doing that for me, right? So although I realized overnight that this job was not the solution to my problems, I had to keep going. And I fell out of love with my job overnight. I know this is not the fix. I don't want to do it. I don't want to spend time on the road anymore. I don't want to do this. But that's the only way to make money. So I'm podcasting on the side. I'm traveling a ton again. I start calling out of work. I start leaving the job sites early. I start showing up late. I do not care anymore. I don't want to do it. And pair that with the fact that my depression was getting worse. My anxiety was getting worse. I was homesick before I left. I wasn't sleeping. I was not going in a positive direction. So all of this led to me waking up in a hotel room in New Jersey, getting ready for work that morning. Alarm clock went off. I sat up, I slid to the edge of the bed. I'm lacing up my work boots. And the best way to explain it, Alfred, is that morning there was 10 televisions on in my head at the same time, and every single one was on a different station. One is saying you're stuck here forever.
Yeah, that sounds like Twilight Zone kind of stuff.
100%. I felt like I got lucky. I couldn't imagine leaving this job, right? So that was one. If you ever did leave, what would your friends think? There's a lot of significance tied up in that. I make good money, right? Big one that I think a lot of us can connect with. What's my family going to think? And then the biggest one for me was, do I really think I'm going to be a successful podcaster? That's, I'm not going to leave this job and be a podcaster.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy because not crazy, but that's the question I'm often asked. How much money you're making at it? And the reality is, I tell people, for me as a podcaster, I don't really have a. I'm not after the money aspect of as a podcaster. I'm after doing it well enough that I land the speaking gigs from it.
Yeah.
To be successful enough with people like you on the show, to have the right interviews and create the right content, and then I can take it off camera in front of a live audience like I did as a lay minister who, if I better choice of words, that's another whole show. To do it in a different format. So yes, podcasting would be great, but I'm leaning toward the other side. So I think that taps into somewhat hitting your rock bottom or your why.
Mhm.
Before I became a podcaster, I was open mic host and writing workshop. That for things that I taught myself as a writer since the age of 13. That I was addressing other people to help them write their stories as through poetry. And people were like, poetry don't pay. And I finally coined that slogan, like, poetry don't pay, but poetry is my key to a door that will pay. Therefore, I have a book out now. Yes, I have, and I didn't realize, another thing I didn't realize, sometimes you feel to know what you got until you move to a new residence. And then I started to unpack. And I saw the first 2 copies of the book that I have. It was like, yeah, it was waiting for you. So I'm going back and bringing that back full circle to what you're saying and tying in my little part of the story. That podcasting for me means getting speaking gigs. So anyone who wants a speaker, I'm not gonna say tell you. I'm gonna say it like this: I'm probably one of the best damn speakers you ever have because my story is one that you ain't heard yet. Okay, you can go and hear the first episode of Life is About More Than Living, which was inspired by my older son told me to tell you a story, Dad. So I jumped into podcasting. And the first episode is entitled "Precondition to Fail" because I was taught that I will eventually never, ever to be successful at any effing thing. So that being said, I get where you're coming from because on the outside, all this was happening, but now I'm gonna take a twist and throw something here in the mix of this stuff here.
Please.
We're still dealing with rock bottom, but can rock bottom also be disguised as living a good life versus a great life?
I think it can be disguised as a lot of things.
Okay.
I think it can be. I think for a lot of us, it is oftentimes it is the revealing of what we thought we wanted, we did not want, and we traded in so much of what we wanted to get what we thought we wanted.
Yeah, you just said pretty much what I was thinking because I lived a good life, but I was always doing the basics.
Yeah.
And I never learned. I'm still learning about more now. I wasn't taught early as a child, person coming out of the 80s. I wasn't around the people who taught financial literacy, who taught working beyond a paycheck, who encourage you one day you should have home ownership. Well, some of them had own homes, but it was like, I can't share that. So I'm bringing all that into this, in line with what you just said, living that thing, but not really living that thing. Rock bottom disguised as it's okay. You worship, you have a family, you got kids, you got a job, you get a paycheck every week, and you do your writing on the side, and you be creative on the side. Of course, we have all technology we got now, but those are things you just don't do. But it's back to what you said though. It's kind of like rock bottom.
Well, it's deeply personal. I think it's deeply.
You don't want to offend family and friends, and
of course,
man, you're doing so good. You get some amazing kids.
Of course,
you get a job,
and no one can see the purpose. That's the thing, Alfred. Is like for you, it's this burning thing inside of you that you feel so pulled to do, but nobody outside of you can feel that like you can. So you're gonna get a real job, right? You can't leave that job. You're not gonna have insurance.
Like blah, blah, blah. You get a girl, you get a car, you got this. You can't give that up.
Right. And it makes sense. Like, I can understand that perspective. And I think one of the important things to understand is oftentimes the advice we are given is not based on our capabilities. It's based on the person who's giving it. My mom and grandmother would, it's not that they didn't support me. They believed in me. They supported me. I don't think they believed that this could be a thing, because I don't think they believed this could be a thing for them. Understandable, right? Understandable. They didn't have the passion that I had. They didn't have the purpose.
Different generation,
Definitely.
technology, all
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to say, wait, you're going to find a way to make a living on the internet. It's like, yeah, no, I know it does sound wild. It does sound wild, but there's something to the purpose of that. So one of the most important things I think we can talk about from that perspective is, I think for a lot of people, we have a deep desire to help a certain type of person overcome a certain type of pain in a certain type of way. And that usually is attached to our purpose. When things get weird is when we start talking about the vehicle for our purpose. I'm not supposed to be a podcaster. That's not my purpose. My purpose is not to be a podcaster. My purpose is to use my voice to help raise people's awareness, to avoid the pains that I couldn't. Podcasting is just a vehicle, right? Poetry, writing, speaking, those are the vehicles, but the passion, the purpose, that is the reason for doing. So I think if you're out there and you're thinking to yourself, I don't know what my purpose is, I would challenge you respectfully to say, maybe you don't know what your vehicle for your purpose is yet. You probably want to help someone in a certain way avoid something. That's a fairly common way to look at it.
So that goes back to, I guess, in a sense, I'm not a forward. People, I'm gonna just be straightforward. I'm not a Ford product lover. However, I know Ford makes one of the best trucks ever. They've been making trucks forever and ever and ever. So that's their motif. And cars, not so much in my opinion. But that Ford using it in the sense of a vehicle or a medium. So for me, my vehicle, medium choice, be a Nissan product. However, if that vehicle, if you don't know what your vehicle of choice is, or you need to take that journey, I think what you're leaning toward, do some things. Do some things I want you to bring out to help a person identify that vehicle, if you can. So that, like me, I love my Nissan product. Okay, I own one Nissan product. It's proven to be everything and beyond what I expected it to be. It's my vehicle of choice to get me XYZ. Likewise, the podcasting is my vehicle. But that was a journey to a bunch of places, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. I'm not here to tell people my story about my vehicles. I jumped in my hoopties and my good ones. The depression and the happiness. The day of, why are you getting up doing this? And when you can't do this, I want you to take that deep dive and help people to identify their vehicle, what skills they need to identify their vehicle.
Yeah. So, I mean, you spoke very well about it. You can't really identify the vehicle until you test drive a bunch of different ones. First car I ever had, Alfred, Mustang. I had a Mustang, first one. It was a piece of crap. I mean, it was a hoopty for sure. But there was something about being in a Mustang. And then I got another Mustang. And then I got a different car and a different car and a different car, right? So I think one of the things that we need to understand is you really only can stretch to the experiences that you've had. It's really hard to say, I want to be this if you've never practiced being that before. So it's easier to connect the dots after. But the questions I would ask are, what is something you lose track of time doing? I have to keep an eye on the clock when I'm podcasting, because if I don't, I will go off the rails, and you and I will be here all day.
I'll be here like an hour and a half.
That's a really good sign. So that's one. What do you lose track of when you're doing it? That's one. Two, what would I find you talking about on a Friday night if you were given a stage of people that were interested? What would I find you just going off about? Okay, let's talk about that. That's a thing. What have you been told that you're good at by strangers that have no reason to tell you that you're good at it? They have no skin in the game. That's one. What are you naturally gifted at? That's another. This might be my favorite one. What really, really, really makes you angry, or really, really, really makes you sad? That is a suggestion that you're connected to trying to solve that problem for other people. Those are all really good places to start. And then if you have the perspective, take a look back and say, okay, what are some common patterns for me? I did not intend on being a podcaster. I was interviewed on a YouTube channel. At the end, I said, oh my goodness, that hour and a half felt like it went by in 5 minutes. Imagine if you could do that for a living. I had a friend who said, well, there's people out there that do. And boom, that connected the dots for me. And then after, when I look back, I was posting inspirational stuff on Facebook and doing videos long before Facebook Lives were a thing. I was coaching people on Snapchat long before I knew that I wanted to be a coach. I've been writing poetry similar to you since I was little. I've wanted to use my voice to inspire others. Interesting. It's not a coincidence that now I'm a podcaster, but I remember, this is one of the best examples. Shortly after I got into personal development and I was like, oh my goodness, everybody needs to know this. This is amazing.
Yeah.
I remember I was hanging out with one of my friends and we went and we met a group of people that I had never met before. And we stayed up until 2:00 in the morning. And I was just doing like a long speech about the fact that you got to chase your dreams. You have to chase your dreams because if you don't chase your dreams, one day you're going to wake up and wish you did. And I was just going off, Alfred. That's what you would have found me doing on a Friday if you had given me people who actually wanted to hear that. So I think those are great questions and a great place to start. Last thing, we have a mentor and a friend. His name's Evan Carmichael. He's big on YouTube. He's a successful YouTuber and very successful in business. And he says that your purpose comes from your deepest pain. I think that's a good place
to... Say it again.
I got you. Yeah, your purpose, the thing that you are meant to do, comes from your deepest pain. The thing that you experience that you want to help other people avoid, your purpose is probably buried somewhere deep in that.
Your purpose comes from your deepest pain.
Yeah.
This I keep saying this is not my show because I could go on and on with so many things you're talking about.
Please.
I live and I play off real easy.
Please. That's one thing you'll never get from me, Alfred.
One of the things I've challenged so many individuals with, especially the last couple of weeks, I've met some amazing people doing my paying job. Let's just say it later for now, my paying job. For a reason I'm not gonna say up here what it is, but I met some amazing people who have, in a matter of moments, shared with me their deepest pain. To which I turned around and lo and behold, the one day I'm reaching for, it's not ever in my desk. And I hate stepping off camera because anyway, I always keep a copy of my book nearby, I thought. But look, I'm pretending I got it. It's in this big banner out back. Anyway, lo and behold, I ended up giving one a copy of my book to one of these individuals. Because I said to him at the end of the day, I usually don't give away one copy to someone that touches, grabs my heart. That man that day was celebrating 2 wins. To somebody else, like, yeah, whatever, I could do that. But he had just closed on a lease to move his family out, basically a Roach Motel apartment complex, but it was all he could afford to do at the time versus being homeless. He had just got confirmation email that he got a new job. So he was riding a high. And I've been speaking and talking to him like we're doing now. But I brought him up, but as a person of color, as I say, African American male, I said one thing about my book, it has resources in it for mental health resources because we all have been in different places. So if you get a paperback copy, he went on, I'm not really a reader, I don't read that much. To tell you what, you're celebrating some wins, but in case you go to that place again, my book has some resources in it at the end of it. It's a poetry collection, but it's got a lot of dark stuff in it, some light stuff in it. And I said, I'm gonna sign you a copy and give you a free copy of the book. Not because you're in a bad place now, but you have some resources if you arrive there. They said, like, I'll take it, I'll read it. When you say about your pain, your deepest pain, he had already experienced pain on a level of not be having his family where he wanted him to be at,
Mhm.
not having a job he wanted, not able to feel like the man he wants to feel as. I wasn't there in his darkness, but I was able to give him something to help him to avoid going in his darkness again. So in that sense, he shared with me his deepest pain. So like you said, identify it.
Mhm.
He didn't realize he was identifying it, but at the end of it, he had a resource in case it shows up again. I say this in line with what you're saying, what you said, because as creatives, like you see yourself as being a podcaster, that, that's part of our purpose. I believe that we don't only that we take our creativity to a different level and impact people's lives, and for you and I to discover a way or a media or a vehicle to get paid for it. May not be the same vehicle, but
Mhm.
compensation is still compensation. Uh, my listeners, because I've been saying listeners for so long. Going live is totally new to me, basically for the last few months with video and all that. But those who like, subscribe, follow, because you have to subscribe to get this on YouTube. There's no way you're gonna get it. Yeah, I got it set up that way. You're not gonna see this video outside of the live unless you become a subscriber. You better catch it now. You can subscribe to catch it later. But that was discovering my medium, my vehicle. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that because I keep it natural. I hate the idioms you throw in there, but what I'm saying is this. Once people, you and I, all of us, tap into that, discover that deepest pain, it goes into the next thing in the notes here. I think we start discovering ways to rise.
Mm.
And that's again, we could tie to the next point. In the text on YouTube and elsewhere, you will see their website, Kevin's, Alan's website, Next Level University. Because I had these gentlemen up here, and I believe in divine providence. I believe in the spiritual guidance. I believe if sometimes you might miss the boat that comes to save you, but you're damn not sure they miss the helicopter when they drop the ladder down and the flood is coming. So this is my ladder being dropped in the helicopter. I am going to click on what they're offering. I'm going to check it out. They have a free part. I challenge you, everyone who wants to rise, according to what he's going to talk about next, how to rise, to check out Next Level University. These cats, neither one of them have hustled me, browbeat me. Kevin nor his partner Alan has beat me up. Said you gotta subscribe to this, you gotta sell this, you gotta try that. They have not bombarded me. Some of the coolest guys I've met that I've never met outside the internet that has a resource to help us deal with the next level. I don't even bring people this sort on my show, but their stories. So you gotta do it. Because at the age of 62, I'm determined to not leave this earth the way I arrived upon it and some things. So anyway, that's my spiel for these cats. Next Level University. What are your suggestions, Kevin? About to rise, how we do rise better.
Yeah, this is the thing that I say. Number one, thank you so very much for those kind words. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I think we have been convinced that you have to set these massive life-changing goals because somebody like me comes on and talks about how I went from wherever I was to now I'm quite literally living my dreams. But that's because I made it and I continue to try to make it every day. If you're out there, wherever you are, let's say you feel like you're at a level 1 right now. I'm not asking you to set a level 10. I'm not asking you to set a level 9. I'm asking you to set a level 1.5 goal. That's it. Start small, start embarrassingly small. I think one of the reasons a lot of us don't get to where we want to get to is because we set a goal we don't believe we can actually get to. And you're not going to run towards something you don't believe you can get to. It just doesn't make sense logically. We want to be safe as humans. Set a goal that feels somewhat safe. It's going to stretch you. It's uncomfortable to a degree, but you're not worried about it being the end. That's part one. I would start there. Set a goal under health, under wealth, and under love, one goal under each. That is not something that is going to require you to uproot your life and change everything. Just a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. I am just the compound effect of small changes over the last 8 years. You just weren't there at the beginning, so it looks like a big change. but from day to day, it relatively is invisible. So that's part one. Part two, and you just spoke so beautifully about this, I would do an audit of the people in your life and ask yourself a simple yet powerful, potentially painful question. Are the people in my life the best from my past or the best for my future? If the majority, Alfred, of the people in your life are the best from your past because you used to party, you used to do this, you used to do this together, that might not be serving you. We want people that are going to help you get to the next level, not hold you back at the previous one. That's a big piece. So that's a little audit that I would do, simple. And then I would say, let's focus on consuming content and podcasts and books and YouTube channels and episodes and just content in general that doesn't necessarily make you feel great, but it challenges the way you think in a positive way. Motivation only gets you so far. If you feel motivated after this episode, I like that and I love that and I'm grateful for that. But what you do with that motivation is up to you. And that motivation is it's going to be fleeting. It's not going to last forever. So one of the best things for me that has helped me the most is getting into content that didn't motivate me. It didn't necessarily inspire me. It highlighted the parts of me that needed changing. Those are the three places I would start, because I think for a lot of us, a lot of the content we consume makes us feel better, but it doesn't always make us get better.
That's the feel good stuff. That's not the flatlining stuff.
Right. The best, when you're flatlining, they put those paddles on your chest and they shock you back. And those, I'm willing to bet those paddles do not feel good, but that's exactly what you need in that moment. There's enough content out there of you're in the right place at the right time or everything's going to work out. And very honestly, it's going to work out to the degree that you make it work out. And we have a bigger piece in this, and we have a bigger piece in our circumstances that maybe we want to believe at times. So yeah, that's where I would start. If I was giving advice, that's where I would start.
Okay. Yeah. Those who love, like I love chocolate cake. Chocolate cake is not always a bit, but currently a lot of sugar is not the best for me. That's I'm glad my physician don't follow. I know my physician don't follow me. I took a deep dive in my chocolate cake last night.
Well, you'll find out, Alfred. You'll find out at your next appointment whether they follow you or not.
Yeah, I will, because it's coming up soon. But yeah, I love the sugar in the cake. But it's like that. Some people cut a small slice. I have to have the big one, that comfort thing you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that, unlike some who drink milk with their cake, I drink water. Knowing that water can cause all the blah, 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 but it felt good. That thing you're talking about, I think it feels good right here. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, technically, in a sense, your belly flatlining. It's like, I wasn't designed for this. I wasn't designed for this. But I'm gonna use the more graphic. Because I lived it as a firefighter. I had several opportunities where I lived this to see people flatline, and it was like that couldn't have been uncomfortable, because it's not like I've seen in the older movies of the 80s. They go, the body just lay there. These people literally take four people up and pick them up, and that shock hits them. So it can be kind of graphic, but the bottom line of the bottom line is this. In my opinion, is that because they flatlined, there was someone there, healthcare professional, that were doing a job that required them to try to help that person to rise again. In the spirit world, spirituality, that's the final say. But the old saying goes, if it ain't your time to go, you ain't gonna go. So, with the help of professionals, they were brought back from that flatlining, and I hit that flatlining part really hard because it's something you said earlier. I think I'll paraphrase it a little bit. A lot of us walking around and we already flatlined and don't even know it. We already did it. We don't know we flatlined. We just get up in the morning, go to work at night. Same thing. Like some people. I've not been on my first cruise. I'm gonna get on a cruise eventually, especially my wife driving me to go on a cruise. But there are people I work with every year. That's their vacation. they go on a cruise. Ain't nothing wrong with cruises, but that's your life. So you go on 2 or 3 cruises a year, the same places over and over again. Now, this is the one I am going to talk about my wife because 4 years together, I have been more places in 4 years with her than any other time because she's one of those one of these rising people, and we bump heads sometimes, but she's one of these rising people. Okay, so and we've not repeated, to my knowledge, anywhere other than some of the beaches here in North Carolina because it's like, yeah, it's okay. I admire you. I'm not knocking you for going on a cruise every year, but the world is much bigger than a cruise. Because I asked him, "Do you have a passport?" Oh no. So they're on a cruise in safe waters.
Mm-mm-mm. Well, that's a good analogy for creating a life that you don't want to escape from, right? It's I think that's what we all aspire to. We all aspire to get to a place where we don't want a vacation from life necessarily. We want to do our thing because we love what we're doing and we feel like we're living in our purpose. And I love this. I love doing this more than I
Yeah,
like going on vacation. I don't want to go on vacation. I want to do this.
yeah, but even with this, like I know eventually it's gonna catch me on a vacation or something, because but that goes back to how much I love to do.
Yeah.
And tying in with the cruise aspect, there's nothing wrong with those who go on cruises. Like I said, I've not been on one yet. My only thing is, why must you limit yourself? Why must you limit yourself? Uh, this is one person who has a passport that I think will expire in 2027. With the craziness of the world, the political landscape, I'm gonna use my passport at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bringing it back around to this whole thing of us talking, where I no, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna get away from the fluffy stuff. I was trying to be fluffy. What somebody else might call Alfred who knows me, say, "Well, you're deflecting right now." I'm gonna get away from the deflecting part. So, because what you're talking about sitting home today, and we having this dialogue here. Uh, I I walked away from my regular job, from any type of regular employment, February 7th, 2025. Totally self-employed with my other source of income and the podcasting and other things. The winter time is coming. The job I currently do, I don't want to find myself out there doing it, my self-employment gig. And that's where, again, I'm tying this in. Because, like you said, you got to get started basically somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, once we log off, I'm going to go in and sign up. I don't know how deeply I'm going to get. No promises made, but to get started. Because what I've seen will generate the income I need. So when November, December, January comes, I can be here doing what I love to do. I can book more guests. I might can book 2 people a day on the show instead of one. Like, but I'm saying all this because I've heard what you had to say. I heard what your partner had to say. I believe in what I've read. Same with the infomercial for your program. Only infomercial I've given for anybody's program up here.
I appreciate
I let other people give their own infomercials because they've inspired me. But I let them give the information in the sense of being a resource for other people, like my guest in Australia last week. That's not my area of personal development, mental health therapy. That's her area of
it.
expertise. So she's a resource for on a deeper level. I highlight my stuff in my book, but that's about it. But getting back to it, and no more deflecting. Buy into what he said, y'all. I have never met him. I'm not getting paid for this. I could be getting paid for it. I could have charged him. A lot of podcasts have charged people like him to come on their show. I'm one of those who refuse to charge people like others or not charge me to be on their show. Because at the end of the day, the testimony is church folk would say, or the message is in the mess. A lot of us are already in our mess. We're in that rock bottom place. We are networking. I met some of the most amazing people networking in and out of worship. I meet some amazing people daily out here in the streets. I've known people throughout my 19 years of local government service, amazing folks. But it comes back around to the same thing over and over again. Something I heard and that now resonates with me differently. I have a mortgage. Differently now that bills have been accelerated. What resonates me is that broke people can't Broke people hang with broke people, but to break the cycle, you got to lead the broke people. And what I mean by broke people is that basically those who see all you talked about and all we've talked about. It's great. Go to work, have your job, have your career. But is it creating opportunities to live a greater life?
Mm.
If that is it, when you hit rock bottom, what's your pivot point? And but bringing it back to something I was thinking about earlier. Um, and this has caused some people last week to buy my book in the car. Same point I'm about to bring up. So yeah, this is really a glorified infomercial, y'all, for two guys who are making a change in the world. So if you're at this point, thank you for staying. If you're gone, oh well, it wasn't meant for you. But somebody out there want what we got. uh, so when I was dealing with my kidney stone issue, uh, the hospital of choice had where the X-ray stuff is done at. I don't know if it's the doctor term for it. It's located in the basement of the hospital. Anyone who lives in North Carolina has been at UNC hospital, teaching hospital, they know where. They've been at X-ray, they know where it's at. It's in the basement. But what struck me as odd, it's literally at rock bottom. Can't go no further. You went
Mhm.
down there, you're at the end of it in the hospital. But it's the only place I've been in where they have an artificial sky created or a painting and lights where it looks like the clouds are moving overhead. But you're in the basement. So they create that atmosphere for you of rising,
Mm.
of artificial daylight, like you see in some freaking sci-fi movie. Because you know you physically are at rock bottom. And depending on what your condition is, it's not good that it's all the way down there. In
Mm.
my case, that was not even CAT scans. That wasn't cool. They were like making similar kidney stones I had floating around inside of me. But before you go in, though, you're sitting back in a chair, in the lobby, and you're looking up, and Carolina blue sky, and there's the clouds, and you almost feel like you're outside till you get in the elevator and realize you're at rock bottom. The only place left to go is up. So I'm going back to you, Kev, since I went in my poetic mode here.
Eh, I respect it. I dig it. I dig it. Well, I think it's you got to identify where you're at, right? And I think so many of us are afraid to say, well, I am at rock bottom, or maybe I'm doing the best I've ever done, like really doing the best I've ever done, or maybe I'm trending upwards, or maybe I'm trending down. One of the words I talk about all the time that Alan jokingly beats me up for is perspective. The
Oh,
only
that's a good.
it's,
He dare not. I love that word.
that's what I'm saying, Alfred. That's why you and I are we're tight like that. The only real way to know where you are is to look at where you've been. And then from there, we stretch the string and it's either up or it's down. That's why there is no such thing as stagnation in
Mhm.
life. We are either improving or things are getting worse, unfortunately, because we're playing with time. If time stayed the same, then you could stagnate, but you can't really stagnate because time, by definition, is not helping us unless we're doing the right
Mhm.
things, right?
Yeah,
That's a big piece of this. A big piece
excuse
of
me.
this,
I'm sorry, y'all.
no
It
worries.
hurt.
A big piece of this is understanding that time plays into this so much. You most likely did not wake up at rock bottom overnight. You will most likely not get out of the feeling of rock bottom overnight.
Mm-mm.
But progress is day to day. And from day to day, progress is essentially invisible. But from year to year, it's impossible to miss. So no matter where you are, if you are taking a shot to go somewhere else, we just have to factor in time. We just have to factor in how much time it's going to take. And it most likely is going to take more time than you think. Just like it took more time than you thought it would to get to where you are, a bad habit compounds at the same rate a good habit does.
Yeah, most
That's it. I
certainly.
think that's important to know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when you think about it, uh, sometimes it's not the minutes or the hours, just the moments. It's the moments. As like now, I don't lost track of time. Oh, we've been up here like 44 minutes, so we gotta wrap this up. Because, but I had I really had no clue. I sort of struggled with creating this show, because again, I had your cohort up here, so I'm like, I don't want to do the same redundant content. Two different people, different personalities, but I want to be like a little fresher on this one. Um, and that's why you brought a whole different level of sting to this. So y'all go back catch the first one. And if you want to know in your notes, put down part one, part two, whatever. Uh, but that's okay because it goes back to the same. Everything lays back to the quote. I circle back around to the quote every time. That networking has been cited as the number one unwritten rule of success in business. People like saying it's not it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's partially what you know, but it's definitely who you know. This man's highlighted that more and more throughout his conversation. You can't if you are in the room, as the old saying goes, and you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Mm.
But if you're in a room full of smart people and don't pretend to be smart, some of that can rub off on you. Keep your ears shut, your mouth shut, your ears open. That networking, that unwritten rule of success. Uh, if someone were, people ask me, well, how much money are you making on this? That's you, the first question. How much money are you making on this? And that's where I love that my wife still supported me in this because she realized currently I'm not making. But out of this podcasting, out of this networking, I've created two other different streams of income for myself that I know will generate income. Because all I'm doing with Kev up here is I've created a whole thing called PSAC, Personal Storage Image Consultant. And I had a consultant in my car who does business image consulting. So I put my own spin on it. And I met her again out working, doing what I do. Basically, I'm in the transportation business with people. I was able to contract with her and transport her again. Uh, and she was like, well, I told her what I'm charging. She's like, "Uh, how much were you making your job per hour?" I told her. She's like, no, you people pay for your value. I'm like, so I need to go back home and fix all this. And she's like, I'm like, yeah, but I was taught to give free. I would give them, free consultation. Like she's like, no, you've been doing what you've been doing, basically the podcast for 7 years. You led writing groups. You did all this stuff in the community for free. No, that's consulting on a different aspect of consulting, but still consulting. So if they want your time to point them in the direction of getting a book put creators audio book. They want your time as far as setting up a podcast. They want your time. Then they should pay you $35 for 30 minutes. I'm like, I'm only asking 25. She said, no, $35 for 30 minutes because they're going to waste about 20 of that minutes just talking about themselves. So you're really going to consult about maybe 15 minutes. And then you hit them with the contract. And then you get paid. But either way it goes, you still win. I'm saying this all on the thing because anyone wants to see how I'm doing what I'm doing, I can get you started. Alan, Alan and his partner, Kevin and Alan, vice versa, Next Level University, help you go to the next level. I am doing what I said I was going to do with poetry. I'm just the key. I'm the vehicle. Y'all chose to jump in my car today. Y'all riding on YouTube channel. Y'all riding on Facebook. Y'all riding on LinkedIn. Do you LinkedIn folks who see me posting, be a public speaker? Yeah, I'm there. This is the same guy. Uh, you're riding in my vehicle today. You might ride in my vehicle tomorrow because this will be out there on the internet. It doesn't go. It's not going anywhere. But you're in my vehicle with Kev today. Kevin today. Okay. So reach out to me on my level. Reach out to him. Next Level University. Let them take you to the next level. Even if you only do what I'm going to do, take advantage of what's on their website. Try it out. I would love to bring both of them back or one of them back first of the year. And, and I'll share my story about what they did for me. If only I use the resources they make available for everybody. I'm not making no guarantees because they ain't pressured me now. But this 45, 50-minute infomercial. It wasn't supposed to be an infomercial, but yeah, this 50-minute infomercial. Take a deep dive in this thing, y'all. Uh, I like this energy. Uh, Kel, I'm gonna let you wrap this thing up, man,
Okay.
because I've given more promotional time to you guys than I
Well, I
do for
respect it.
anybody.
I respect it.
But the thing about it, I'm like, people don't show up a second time unless they showed up for a reason.
Mm.
It's like you know, I think someone said to me years ago, you may hear someone speak on something, then it doesn't hit your heart to hear someone different speak on the same topic.
100%. 100%. This is what I would end with, because this was a piece
Okay.
that we didn't talk a ton about, but I want to make sure we
Okay.
add value to it.
Okay.
Networking is adding value, not getting value. That's it. That's it. That's a
Okay.
reframe. When I say I'm going to a networking event, I'm going to add value, and I'm going to find
Okay.
somewhere where I can add value. And that is me. That is what I do. I want to add value into your life. We say it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. Yes.
Right.
And it's about why you know who you know and what you think of the person you know. And that's, if you add value, add more value into people's lives. The only reason we're here is because we've added a lot of value into people's lives. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's the obsession. I get good at what I do. I learn. I overcome
Mhm.
my stuff so I can teach other people how to do the same thing. And as long as I keep growing, there should be value for me to add. But that is the thing. If you add value, I don't know if there's a better networking chip than saying, okay, how can I help you, Alfred? What's going on in your life? How can I help you? How can I
Mhm.
pour into you? People remember that way more than a business card, right? So
Yeah.
that is what I would say about networking. Add more value than other people. I guarantee you will be remembered. It just takes more time than maybe you think.
Yeah. You keep saying, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you,
Of course.
Kevin, coming on board. I'm gonna take you off camera. I'm gonna close out. Don't go nowhere. Uh, and then I'm gonna do, yeah, give me about 45 to 60 seconds.
Do it.
I'm gonna say a few more words to you. Kevin Palmieri, great guest. Tomorrow, you guys, come back, catch me live, 2 p.m. Eastern time. I can't say nothing else about Thomas E. Clodfelter other than he's my friend. I'm gonna have a friend on the show tomorrow. I'm gonna have a friend who has lived with HIV and AIDS for over 20 years. I'm a friend who's been an ambassador in the cause, who's out here in the streets of Greensboro and North Carolina and other places they invited him to. I'm gonna be sitting down with a friend tomorrow who's gonna share his story. And his story does everything he just said. I know it does because I've heard his story. If you watch tomorrow and don't leave with value being added, you have tuned into my podcast. And I tell you, do not ever come back again because people, only quality people, as Les Brown said, people add value. Kev, appreciate you. I'm
Appreciate you back, buddy.
rambling. I'm rambling on because it's like back to back. This energy gonna flow into the next 24 hours. Taking you off camera real quick. Life is about more than living. This has been Life About More Than It's About More Than Living, a podcast. Truly hope that you embrace the story that was shared. Come back tomorrow. Catch my special guest, Thomas Clodfelter. Uh, the show, simple story. Show is his story, his words, our our human experience. Tomorrow's episode, and blessings and peace. And no matter what happens, no matter what happens, I'll win. Oh, your shirt is available also at our print on demand store.